5-second warning. Good evening everyone and welcome to TTL F1 League 2. We are here tonight for round 9 of the championship. It is the Russian Grand Prix from the Sochi Autodrome beside the Black Sea. 18 turns await the drivers out on track and what should be a thrilling night with championship permutations as well. Good evening everyone, of course I am James Head. I'm normally joined by Paco Suarez. I'm not sure where the Spaniard is at this moment in time, so I've started the stream a little bit early. Hopefully he will be joining me in due course, and hopefully we get to see some good action out on track. But I think what we can do though, when before he arrives, is run through all of the graphics that we are going to be seeing here tonight. So coming into tonight, it is, of course, Mashiro who took the win last time out in Singapore. Toro Rosso second and third as well. Hades and Pariah performing well, as they always do, and Singapore really brought the best out of them. In terms of the race winners, pole and winners, it is a really different story in pole positions that have been set so far this season. Pariah has set 3 pole positions. He has the record amount of pole positions so far this season. Daniil on 2, Mashiro on 2 and Axnes on 1. But then you look at the winners of the races this season. Mashiro has won the last 5 races out on track. He can be crowned champion, as I say, out on track tonight. Germany, Hungary, Belgium, Italy and Singapore, all 5 wins coming Mashiro's way, and since Britain, a fire has been lit within the Japanese man, and hopefully he'll be doing a fantastic job out on track. The stick-em-up driver of the day was the Norwegian Axnes. Drove a very good race. He picked up wing damage in the second half of his stint, but Axnes drove a very conservative race and drove well. I think he finished 4th or 5th if I'm not mistaken. He had penalties in the end as well, but Axnes drove very well in the Alfa Romeo, who was on the alternate strategy, remember, in Singapore. And I will get up very soon the driver's standings, because I have just totally forgot that I haven't saved them. So I haven't saved the driver's standings, so hopefully it'll be able to pop up. I will get them in just 20 seconds or so time. Hopefully the action, as I say, is going to be on good out on track tonight. Hopefully I'll get my co-commentator as well here, Mr. Paco Suarez, in the meantime. Where am I in terms of the driver's standings? Right, I need to save these. It's the only things I haven't saved. So coming into tonight, Mashiro leads on 163 points from Key in second on 109 points. So the McLaren's running away with things in terms of the driver's standings. And really it has been a McLaren dominance, I think. And the championship permutation coming into tonight is simple. It is simple. So what we have got in terms of the drivers' standings, Mashiro on 163 points coming into tonight, Key on 109 and Hades on 88 points. The gap between them is 54 points coming into tonight. The points remaining out on track is 78 points. So that is essentially 325 points, that's 75 points, plus the point for the fastest lap. That equals 78 points. If Mashiro does not get outscored by Key by at least 2 points and Hades by 23 points, Mashiro will be crowned champion here tonight. And he will be, I think, for the first time in TTL F1 League 2 history, certainly the first back-to-back winner of the leagues, because obviously this was known as TTSL last season. Mashiro will be back-to-back champion if he wins tonight. Another big stat to add to tonight. Let's run through the rest of the standings though. Mashiro on 163 points, as I say, leading the way. Key in second on 109 points. Hades is in third on 88 points, with Storm in fourth on 80 points. Daniil in fifth, the Ferrari man, on 64 points, with Axnes in sixth on 59. Pariah is in seventh on 47 points. Maximus is in eighth on 29, along with Atlas Coppo. And Mays is in 10th, just sneaking into the top 10 of the standings on 28 points. But that, I think, has really been him in a forte really out on track. He's in the top 10 of the standings, which is good to see. Charlie is in 11th on 26 points. Jeffrey is in 12th on 25. Conti is in 13th on 22 points, with Shumi in 14th on 13. Passels is in 15th on 8, with Vax Viking in 16th on 6 points. Superhero, Storm, YWR Storm, and King Koza all on 2 points, tied for 17th. And Tom is in 20th. Hopefully going to be picking up his first points of the season within the last 3 rounds. The Welshman on nil points coming into tonight. And of course it was meant to be Eurovision this weekend, so I'll be trying to throw in a little bit of nil points here and there. Or 12 points in time. McLaren though, 262 points leading the way from Toro Rosso in second on 135 points. Racing Point in third on 106 points, with Alfa Romeo in 4th on 88 points. Ferrari is in 5th on 77 points. Red Bull in 6th on 47. Renault is in 7th on 36 points. Mercedes is in 8th on 31. Williams in 9th on 16. And Haas in 10th on 6 points. Let me run you through as well the championship permutations for the constructors' standings, because they can be won as well. McLaren on 262 points, as I've already said, coming into tonight. Toro Rosso on 135 points. The gap is 127 points in favour of McLaren. They're, of course, leading the way. Points remaining, 132 points. So think of it this way, 44 points per race. So all McLaren need to do is score 6 points or more compared to Toro Rosso. McLaren will win the title. However, on the opposite end, if Toro Rosso score 38 points or less, McLaren will subsequently win the title out on track. I'm just going to go blue screen quickly for a minute. You guys won't see this, but I'm going to go blue screen just to try and invite in my co-commentator who was missing in action tonight. See if he is online. He isn't, so hopefully there's nothing wrong with his connection, but we get straight into the lobby. And what a track it is. Russia, of course. 27 laps, 18 turns await the drivers out on track. A lap distance of about 5.8 kilometres, 3.6 mile in length, race distance of just nearly 158 kilometres, 157.896 to be exact, 98.1 mile race distance. And the last time we came here to Russia was, of course, in TTSL last season, the Sprint Leagues from last season, and we saw that utterly tremendous battle between Key and Storm. Are we going to get a repeat of that tonight? You'll just have to wait and find out. But, as I say, good evening to everyone in the comment section. I will try and check through the comment section, probably on the formation app if I can. But 16 drivers here on track tonight about to do battle. And we saw last night in TTL F1 as well how much difference it is between the mediums and the softs. We saw 129s nearly in qualifying in TTL F1 League 1 last night. That was ILRT Thomas with a 130 flat. Are we going to see similar lap times than that? I don't think we will. I think we'll sneak into the 130s for sure. These guys, I think, probably going to be about, I would say, 7, 8, maybe 9 tenths off Thomas's pace in qualifying from last night. The first car is about to come out on track. I think that looks like it's Conti coming out on track. TTG Conti coming into tonight, of course, on... I'll just get him up on the point standings. 22 points. He's in 13th in the Red Bull, and hopefully going to be doing a good job out on track tonight. But the infographics, as soon as the McLarens, by the way, come out of the pits, we're going to run our first infographic for you guys. But in the meantime, Conti is out, and he's out on a set of medium compound of tyres. Remember, these guys have three freely available tyres to run. The soft compound of tyres, the mediums and the hards. Soft compound of tyres, which are seen on the left-hand side of your graphic, is the fastest of the 3 compound of tyres, but they wear at quite a quick rate, about 4% per lap around here. Medium compound of tyres on the middle of the 3 compound of tyres essentially does what it says on the tin, and Conti on the set of mediums sporting that yellow wall of compound of tyres. Hopefully we're going to see him set a good lap out on track. He's on the Red Bull, of course, Jeffrey his teammate. But Conti coming round through turns 8 and 9, where Toxic lost it last night in the Red Bull in TTL F1 League 1. I'm sure he will go back on that and look at his disappointment, I think, in terms of the fate. Just having a look through as well, we haven't got many drivers out on track, so it is literally playing for time really. We're going to see the first cars coming out of the pit lane as well. Conti is going to be one of the first ones, and he's going to be the first driver out on track tonight, so hopefully Conti will do a good job. Hopefully I will get my co-commentator in at some point, Paco Suarez. I'm not sure what the hold-up is. I'm not sure if he's even forgot there might be a league race on tonight and a commentary on for him tonight, but you never know. Conti coming round the final 2 corners out on track through turn 17 and through turn 18. Let's run on board with the Red Bull man as he sets about at the Sochi Autodrome through the King at turn 1 and then on towards turn 2. You can see the Fish Stadium just off the left hand side. There's the curling arena on the right hand side as well, and now Conti coming down towards turns 2. And famously where Matsushita went off in Formula 2 last season, in real life, Conti going through that flat left-hander through turn 3, Fish Stadium, where the opening ceremony of the 2014 Winter Olympics took place. There it is on the left hand side. The ice hockey arena to the left. Through turn 4 he goes, and towards the end of the first sector, Conti with a 33.7. You want to be going sub 33s if you're on a soft compound of tyres. Conti, of course, on the medium compound of tyres, is the first one out on track. Now coming through the very tricky section of turn 7. Low degree corners, low speed corners these pretty much, but Conti making that look pretty easy through turns 8 and 9. Olympic Village just in the foreground of shot there. Conti now through turn 10 and on the run down towards the straight through turn 11 and into the braking zone of turn 12 and then into 13, 14, 15 and 16 out on track. Now through the kink at 12, then running down a hill towards the braking zone, 106.5 through the middle sector for Conti. Looking very nice actually this out on track through 13, 14, then into 15 and 16, the next 2 turns coming up for the Dutchman out on track. Of course coming into tonight, he's in 13th place coming into the standings. Looking like a nice lap. There's a McLaren just getting out of the way. That looks like Mashiro who is out on track. Conti in the meantime coming round the final 2 corners. What is his lap time going to be? Not going to be a really rip-roaring lap time as we normally see in these qualifying sessions, but 33.4. It's a lap of the Sochi Autodrome for Conti. Let's run on board then with Mashiro in the meantime as the championship leader gets set. Pariah goes quickest with a 131.9. He's on a set of soft compound of tyre. I nearly dropped my controller. I'm going to have to grab it and commentate at the same time. There we go. So Mashiro coming into tonight, you can really see how this race could progress for Mashiro. And remember, in terms of the Drivers' Championship, Mashiro will claim the title if either Key fails to outscore him by 2 points out on track or Jerez fails to outscore him by 23 points. That is the difference that you should be seeing on the left hand side of your screen. Now actually out on track, Mashiro coming through turn 6. Now through 7, 8 and 9, looking very nicely there. You can pick up a 1 and a normal invalidation actually coming through turn 7, then through turn 9 and through turn 10 the kink, and then into the braking zones, the very tricky braking zones of 11 and 12, and then coming in towards 13, 14, 15 and 16. This is the braking zone, this is the kink through 11, now into 12, then into 13, which is this corner here, through turn 14 and then into 15 and 16. Mashiro looking good actually on this lap out on track. Let's see what the McLaren man can do. He's on a set of medium compound of tyres. Remember, coming into tonight, he picked up the last 5 races he has won. Accidents goes quickest, 131.6. As I say, we're a little bit way off the times of the TTL F1 guys last night, but Mashiro coming across the line, I think he's going to go 3rd with this lap. It's a clean lap, and it's a clean lap on a set of mediums. Atlas Coppola just joins in behind him as well. He goes 3rd with 32.6, but Mashiro 33 flat, goes 4th, and is quickest of the medium runners by a set of, well, pretty much by a second, 1.3 seconds, and that is not what you like to see, Mashiro. Mashiro cutting the track in qualifying, stick within limits. I don't like to see drivers do that, to be honest, but there you go. Storm has had a moment, just coming through turn 13 that was, down through 14. Of course, he has been struggling with an injury, a recurring injury. He's, I think he claimed in the chat in Discord that he was an old man, and the joys of being an old man where he's picked up his injuries. So Storm hopefully going to be returning to some form. If we're going to see him fight Key once again, he's got to be right on top. But Storm out on track, set to 142.6. It wasn't an invalidated lap, so he's got a bank lap in. He's now going to go probably back into the pits, if I'm not mistaken. Key in the meantime, the other McLaren team, with one focus on the constructor standings with the helmet in the way, running into tonight, the constructor standings are as follows. McLaren will clinch the title tonight if either McLaren score 6 or more points, or Toro Rosso failed to score 38 or more points. Key coming into the pits then. He was on a set of hard compound of tyres as well, so probably just getting to feel how those are. Maybe looking to one eye for the race, I think, there with that strategy. Not many guys out on the lap, actually. Quite a few invalidations being picked up. Maximus is going to come into the pits, but we'll run you through the order as it stands. Axner's on top with a 131.6, with Pariah in second on a 131.9. Atlas Coppo in third with a 132.6. Mashiro, quickest of the mediums, as I said, 133 flat. Pascal's improved, by the way, 133.6. He's fifth on a set of softs. Tom is in sixth with a 134.2 on a set of softs. Conti in 7th, 34.3. Jeffrey in 8th. Storm in 9th, 34.8 and a 42.6 respectively for Jeffrey and Storm. Charlie, Maximus, Key, Mays, Storm, YWR Storm, YWR Hades and Daniil all picking up, well, haven't set a pure lap out on track. And we'll have a focus actually on Charlie, and as soon as I come on board with him, he picks up an invalidation. So that's just my luck, and if you want to count my luck over the last couple of weeks, honestly, Charlie has, well, he's been commentators cursed a couple of times by me this season, and I think that is just another one out on track. But there we have it, there's the rundown of the order. Just going to tune into the YouTube comment section to see how you guys are doing on this fine Friday evening. It's a very cold Friday evening if you're in the northeast of England, of course. Storm saying, just to reiterate in the comment section, don't think he will do well with his wrist injury, but he's going to give it a go. And of course he's going to give it a go. Points up for grabs. I mean, we had plenty of DNFs last night in TTL F1 League 1. We're just on board with Charlie as he comes round to the end of his lap, probably to come into the pit lane. But Storm, probably not going to be as fast as what he would like to be, I think. Charlie is going to prepare for a lap, so we're going to go back on board with him. I'm just seeing if we've got any more directions on the infographics, possibly. Suarez is not available here tonight, so that is why he's not joining me. So sadly, you're going to be stuck with me for the next hour and a bit, which is not too bad. Not too bad at all. Charlie's just started up on his lap. He's on a set of hard compound tyres coming through turn 2. Very tricky turn 3. If you just lose the back end slightly, 1 inch of the back end kicking out, it could lose you the end plate on the left hand side through turn 3. Now through turn 4, the Ice Hockey Arena on the left hand side, as I say, and Charlie on a lap, the Racing Point man. 33.5 out on track. But hopefully we're going to be seeing Charlie have a good race out on track tonight. He drove well for the majority of Singapore, and then I think he just got caught up with a bit of end plate damage, and Charlie never really recovered since, I think, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, I'll run through his running order for you in terms of results. Yeah, he finished 5th actually last time out in Singapore, his best result of the season. Before that it was Belgium, where he picked up 6th position, so Charlie really coming alive towards the end of the season. See on his lap, 106.2 through the middle sector for Charlie. Looking good, but can the Racing Point man go towards the top end of the field? You would imagine with a set of hard compound tyres, and looking how the medium guys have ran so far in this session in qualifying, Charlie should be in and around YWR Storm Jeffrey sort of area. That's where he'd be wanting to put it in between. I think that was Mashiro going into 5th. Sorry, Atlas Coppo going 4th with the 132.6. Charlie, in fact, goes 7th. Hard compound of tyres, but he's quicker than the likes of Conti, Jeffrey and YWR Storm on a set of hard compound of tyres. So good stuff there by Charlie, 133.9. And that is Pariah, just coming to the end of his lap there, 131.5. So Pariah on top. We'll see how Axnes is doing. In fact, we won't see how Axnes is doing. He's picked up an invalidation. He was 700ths up through the first sector. Let's focus then on Hades. But I think Hades has gone 3rd actually with a 132 flat. So he improved. So Hades with a 132 flat should see guys sneak into the 130s hopefully out on track tonight. Of course, this is League 2 action, not League 1. If you missed League 1 last night for TTL F1, then you can easily join up for that. But Atlas Coppo now coming down into the braking zone of the middle sector. This is looking not a bad lap currently from him. A 10th up through the middle sector. Atlas Coppo, recent results, He DNF'd, I think, or didn't appear in Singapore, and then before that, he finished 5th in Italy and 6th in Hungary. So that wasn't too, and Italy, sorry, so that wasn't too bad from Atlas Coppo. He's now coming around the final corner as Mashiro goes for the top with the 131.4. So the Japanese man looking to do it. Oh, and Atlas Coppo invalidates through the final corner. He'd be willing that he didn't. He would have improved on this lap, but he wouldn't improve his position. It was a 132.245, if I'm not mistaken, on that invalidated lap. He just picked up that invalidation purely coming around the final corner. It is horrible when you pick up an invalidation through. I've had that plenty of times before. In the meantime, with one eye to the championship, to both the drivers and the constructors, we ride on board with Key coming into tonight. And Key, of course, coming into tonight, has to outscore Mashiro. Just a reminder about this. Has to outscore Mashiro by a number of points to try and remain within the drivers' standings, within the drivers' championship. It seems unlikely, if I've got to be honest. If Mashiro fails to outscore Key by 2 points, he will be champion, Mashiro. Oh, and actually Key clips the wall on the right-hand side there. Goodness me. Clipping the wall down the straight. 105.6. Fastest in the middle sector. He looks a little bit all over the place, to be honest. He's not happy with this one. He's just picked up an invalidation as well. Key, I think, might be coming back into the pits. We saw this last night, actually. I think it was with Recon, if I'm not mistaken. About 4 minutes left to go in the session, where he picked up he didn't pick up an invalidation. He was going quicker, then came into the pits because the time was running out in the session. And again, we've seen that with Key. Good tactic, I think, to come into the pits. Key, 14th. Currently, not a lap set yet. Possibly coming into the mind games of Mashiro? Are team orders going to work against each other, I wonder? Going to be quite interesting to find out. We'll try and pick up on somebody that's on a lap. We'll go on board with Conti. He's on a set of soft compound of tyres. And we'll take on board with the leaders of this session. Mays is just getting out of the way. He's on an out lap. So Conti now running through the straight. Down towards a very tricky braking zone of turns 12 and 13. And nearly a second improvement from Conti. We're hoping to go around Atlas Coppo Storm sort of area, possibly. Maybe in behind Atlas Coppo as well. So in and around Storm, Atlas Coppo, Tom sort of area, 5th, 6th and 7th, where is where you would be hoping Conti would go. And looking out on track, he's going to do well. But if he comes into the pits next lap around, he will only have limited time to get back out on track. I think this might be his final lap, actually. Conti across the line goes in behind Atlas Coppo, but only by 0.008 of a second. So not a bad lap there at all there by Conti. Red Bull man goes 7th with a 132.662 out on track. Mays has just started up on the lap. Let's ride on board then with the Renault man. The Renault man, of course, Mays in 10th position coming into tonight. Hasn't had a valid lap yet. Or hasn't set a valid lap yet, I should say. Mays now coming through in tricky turn 3 and then into turn 4, where famously we had that 3-car collision in 2018 or 19, if I recall off the back of my mind, involving Grosjean and Ricciardo, I think it was. And of course the main news coming out of this week in Formula 1, Ricciardo moving to McLaren and Carlos Sainz moving to Ferrari. If you wanted to talk about that in the comment section, by all means do so. I want to try and promote a big lively debate, I think, in terms of some of the driver moves and in terms of the new game as well, F1 2020. Red Bull man just coming around, that was Conti. Mays has invalidated on his lap through turn 7, which is unfortunate, but he's going to have one more crack of the cherry, I think. He shouldn't come into the pit lane because there's not much time left in the session. In the meantime, Maximus has just started up on a lap, the Mercedes man. See what he can do. 2 minutes to go in the session. Mashiro out on top, 131.4. 800 ahead of Pariah in second with a 131.5. Axnes in third with a 131.6. And that really is only 2.5 tenths of a second separating the top 3 out on track. Hades is fourth, 32 flat. Storm in fifth with a 132.2. And I mean, for somebody that's carrying an injury, and somebody I think that's carrying a wrist injury as well with his right hand, Storm is doing a phenomenal job. 132.2, and he's quicker than Key at this stage. So that is quite something to behold. I think Key is coming around the final corner now. He isn't able to pick up on his lap in a second, but Maximus coming through onto the straight through turn 10, and then of course 11 and 12. There is CTG Storm just getting out of the way. And the Mercedes man coming down through the middle sector, 104.8. If you sub 105 through there, You're going to be on course for relatively decent lap, I think, in League 2 terms. Maximus coming through 15 and 16, very tricky uphill braking zone into turn 15, then through turn 16. Watch out for the wall on the inside of the curb. Maximus, well, he was going to come into pit stop. He's now through turn 17 and coming through the final corner. Maximus through turn 18 goes fourth, 131.8. Nice lap there by Maximus. Goes fourth and jumps headers down to fifth position. So Maximus goes fourth, 131.8. Conti has retired from the session in the pit lane. He hasn't got enough time to set a lap. But with one eye to the championship, we'll go on board with Key. Halfway through his lap now. Cutting turn 10 very nicely there. He's got his teammate just ahead of him up the road, so there could be a little bit of team orders coming towards the end of the lap. Mays getting out the way there. Has picked up, I think, an invalid lap. Key 104.9 through the middle sector. So in terms of Maximus's lap, he's a 10th down on Maximus's lap in the middle sector. Whether he set a quicker first sector remains to be seen, but Key now coming through 15 and 16. Yellow flags in sector 1 and 2. You can see, I think that was Charlie jumping up into 7th, 132.2. So the two racing points on the third and fourth rows of the grid respectively. Key now around the final corner. Is he going to go quicker than his teammate Mashiro across the line? He doesn't, but he goes quicker than Maximus and finds the time in the final sector, 131.7, and Mashiro is too late to set a lap as well. So Mashiro 131.4 cannot improve out on track. Pariah coming through the final sector now. He's the next one to come across the line. Then it'll be a racing point, I think, of TTG's Storm, if I'm not mistaken. But Pariah is on a good lap here, coming through the final two corners in the Toro Rosso. Can Pariah go quicker than Mashiro? Round the final corner, he does, 131.3. It's only 500ths of a second. Axnes is out on a lap as well. Charlie... That is Storm coming through the final two corners now. He's nearly 2 tenths up. Storm across the line. Goes third, 131.6. Clearly on the pace. Found a lot of time in that final sector. Good lap from him. But it's Axes that we need to watch on board with. He's going 3 tenths quicker than his personal best. Theoretically, it's going to be millimetres between Pariah and Axnes. Axnes coming around the final corner. That is Red Bull ahead, I think, of Jeffrey, if I'm not mistaken. We've got Hades on a lap as well. We'll come on board with in just a second. But Axnes coming through the final two corners. Is he going to go quicker than Pariah? I think he will. He does. 131.299, just within the 131.2s. Nice lap there from him. It's only Hades then that can improve. And I don't think he will. Hades across the line. He improved slightly, 600ths of a second. But that is qualifying over and done with. I think that was Atlas Copo as well. Just improving ahead. He goes 7th, Hades. Atlas Copo in 8th. But it is Axnes with a 131.2 who has taken pole position here. Pariah in 2nd and Mashiro in 3rd. If I'm not mistaken, that is Axnes's 2nd pole position of the season in season 17. It is Axnes's 2nd pole position after Belgium, his only pole position out on track. Axnes has taken it. Now from Mailman, as we see, well, a crash between the AI cars. As YWR had as his car stricken. Thank God it's qualifying and not the race. But the end of qualifying has came. And it is Axnes on top. But look at the top 9. Less than a second separating. Axnes on top from Pariah in 2nd. 700ths of a second separating with Mashiro in 3rd. Storm in 4th. 3 tenths of a second down, but a good lap, and he's outscored Key. That's going to be interesting. Storm and Key right next to each other. Maximus in 6th. Hades in 7th, but that was Corporal Nate. Charlie in 9th. As I say, 2nd separating the top 9. Conti in 10th with Jeffrey in 11th. Good laps from them. Tom in 12th, outscoring Passos, which is quite rare. So good lap there by Tom. YWR Storm in 14th. Mays in 15th. That lap was not valid. Well, that was not a great lap there from him. And Daniil, who has had 2 pole positions to his name this season, hasn't set a lap time. So Daniil, I think, either had a qualifying ban or something, and it's a wet race. It is a wet start to the race. The intermediate conditions going to be coming into play here in Russia at the Sochi Autodrome. And if you're just tuning in, you haven't missed much at all. You've just missed qualifying. If you're just tuning in at this right point, I'm James Head, your solo commentator for tonight for TTL F1 League 2. Russia, 27 laps away at the drivers. Let's have a look at the track map then. Russia, 27 laps, 18 turns away at the drivers, 5.8 kilometres lap distance, 3.6 mile in length, race distance of just under 158 kilometres. It's 157.8 if you are being quite picky, and the race distance is just over 98 mile in that length. No data available for either the qualifying record or the lap record. So the qualifying record you've just seen was Axnes's lap with a 131.299. That will now stand in the test of time as TTL F1 League 2's fastest lap of the session. But the formation lap has now started. Green lights are now out on the cars. And let me run you through two specific angles coming into tonight with the tyre graphics. And we'll get the tyre graphics up in the meantime as well. But just to ride on board with Mashiro, and we'll go on board with Key for the other graphic as well. Mashiro coming into tonight, he will clinch the title if either one of these two things happen. TTG Key fails to outscore him by 2 points, and YWR Hades fails to outscore him by 23 points. So just to reiterate that, Mashiro will clinch the title if Key fails to outscore him by 2 points, and if Hades fails to outscore him by 23 points. It is pretty much looking, and it's written in the stars, that Mashiro could win the title tonight. It is also the same for the constructor standings. McLaren will clinch the title tonight if either one of these two things happen. McLaren score 6 or more points out on track and outscore Toro Rosso, looking good currently I think, or Toro Rosso fails to score 38 points or more. So Toro Rosso essentially have got to be first and second and pick up fastest lap with one of their two drivers to stand any sort of chance of the constructor standings. That is how it runs here tonight. So just to run you through that again, it's going to be quite an interesting race I think, and looking at the tyre strategies as well, the predicted tyre strategies, well, you can throw it out the window to be honest, because we were going to run you through dry tyre strategies, but we've got wet strategies instead. So the intermediate conditions, it's likely to be a one-stop if the conditions don't dry up. However, the rain is quite light, so I would imagine the conditions to dry up sooner rather than later within the race. Intermediate conditions probably will last around to the halfway stage, then you should see the drivers pit in, and then you will see possibly dry compounded tyres. If the dries come earlier, you should be expecting to see, as I say, a one-stop strategy. If it comes around lap 8, lap 9 as the perfect opportunity to come in, stick on a set of medium compounded tyres and really excel to the end on a dry set of tyres. But goodness knows what is going to happen here with the tyre strategies. But if we had a dry race, lap 1 to lap 8 to 11 would be softs to mediums, they would last to the end, and lap 1 to lap 16 or 19, then to lap 27 on the softs, that would be for the medium compounded tyres. Literally thrown out, quite literally throw the graphic out the window I think in terms of that one. But the intermediate conditions here tonight is going to provide a spicy affair for TTL F1 League 2. But it's round 9 here in Russia and the 5 red lights are about to go out. And it's light down, away we go. One of the starts for Axnes gets a very good start and a very good launch from Storm as well. He's on the back of Mashiro already. YWR Storm in the meantime has had a bit of a shocker of a start, to be honest. Axnes, though, down towards someone. Oh, and there's a major crash in the background. Charlie is out and Daniil is out as well. And that's Conti going up the inside, I think. Sorry, it was Jeffrey, and it's caused all sorts of carnage. Key has been caught up in that, possibly. But Pariah leads and Axnes has spun. All sorts of carnage going on here. Let's turn literally into a bit of a pile-up coming through turn 2. Not really sure what happened there. But now Mashiro, the championship leader, leads the way. His teammates down in 8th position. Mashiro now, if the race was to stop now, he would win the title. It's as simple as that. Mace has been caught up in an incident with Tom. Axnes spun around through turn 2 on the exit of turn 2 into turn 3. All sorts of carnage. I don't really know what happened there, to be honest. Mashiro leads the way by 0.3 of a second though, coming through turn 7 and 8. Very gingerly these guys go, where Storm is trying to look for a move. Cautious Storm on the back of Pariah, trying to get the move done. But him and Pariah are going to be maybe side by side down in towards turns 12 and 13. We're right on board with the Racing Point man, and you can see him just coming out of the slipstream of Pariah. Pariah lagging slightly. There was a bit of a red bar connection for Pariah. But down into the braking zone, Mashiro leads from Pariah second. Storm in third. And outrun himself there was Maximus. Maximus has outrun himself and Key has sailed through and he's up into sixth position. So now beginning to recover early on. All sorts of carnage plaguing the first lap. May's caught up in another incident. Not really his sort of luck, I think, here in TTL F1 League 2. Maybe the most unluckiest driver, if I've got to say, in TTL F1 League 2 history. And that's not being dishonest to him. That's just purely how it's been, I think, with his luck this season. Mashiro leads the way onto lap 2 though. Pariah in second, Storm in third, Hannes is in fourth, Jeffrey in fifth. Let's have a look at the position gains then out on track. Key in sixth, trying to pull out the slipstream here on Jeffrey. Jeffrey's had the better start out of everyone, to be honest. 6 positions gained for the Red Bull man, but now it could be 5 positions gained because Key is on the inside line coming through turn 3. You don't want to go side by side through here, and Jeffrey spun the car on the inside. He loses end plate, so does Atlas Copo. Atlas Copo is spun as well. Turn 3, they're trying to take a flat out in intermediate conditions. Passes has gone off as well. Look, these conditions are literally like ice to these drivers. I don't think, honestly, these guys have practiced for the wet conditions. Maximus went round through turn 2 as well. I'm sure there'll be a replay on all of that unfolding. Key, by the way, is right on the back of Hades for 4th position now. McLaren going to try and wrap up the constructors' standings here and now. And as I say, Mashiro outscoring Pariah is going to be adding to that. But Key on the back of Hades. 0.3 of a second separating as they come down towards turns 12 and 13 once again. We're right on board with Storm as well on the back of Pariah. The Racing Point man not getting the job done. Yellow flag in sector 1 is Mays. He's ran through turn 3 as well. But Key is on the back of Hades. This is the 4th and 5th position. Remember, Pariah has got a big part to play in the constructors, in the drivers' standings as well coming into tonight. He's still mathematically within contention. We can tell how serious this rain is. It could be the only opportunity for Russia, really, to stage a claim for deciding a championship here in TTL F1 League 2, or in any TTL league at all. Mashiro leads though. There's the yellow flag through sector 3. Looks like YWR Storm has had a bit of a spin. But at the start of lap 3, it is Mashiro who leads, and Pariah in second. Remember, no DRS here in the wet conditions, in these intermediate conditions. It is old-fashioned F1 school racing, pretty much, so I like to call it. Storm on the back of Pariah, though. We're on board with Storm and get a real indicator of how these conditions are really plaguing the drivers out on track as Key has sailed up. We've just missed that, actually. Key has sailed up the inside of Hades, gets the move done, and Key is through, and he unlocks another position, and he's up into P4 out on track. So well recovered from his little bit of a disastrous start, to be honest, from Key, given the conditions. But he's up to 4th position. I think he was at 8th or 9th at one point. So Key up to 4th, really attributing to this race well. Could be one of the livelier contenders for the race win out on track tonight. Halfway through lap 3 though, Mashiro leads, Pariah second, Storm in third, Key in 4th and Hades in 5th. I wish honestly I had more battles to show you guys, but we don't, because of what happened pretty much on lap 1 and indeed in lap 2 with some collisions with Atlas Copo as well, contacting the wall, and with Jeffrey contacting the wall as well. There's a yellow flag in sector 1, and that is Axnes that's round. The pole sitter from qualifying is round again through turn 3. And through really catching quite a few guys out. The best way to take turn 3 in these conditions, feather off the throttle, don't apply too much power, ease off the throttle halfway through the corner, and really try and get the back end sticking out on the exit of the corner through turn 3 and then into turn 4. Might compromise the line into turn 4 slightly, but that's the best way to deal with these conditions. So a bit of expert advice from the commentary team here. Storm on the back though of Pariah, 49.9 for Mashiro. Got to be honest, actually, the rain looks like it's getting a little bit heavier out on track. You can see by the visibility of the spray being kicked off on the left tyre there. We're right on board with Storm. Let's get back to Harris as well, looking close on the back of Key. Jeffrey Belloways came into the pits. Passel's running in 6th position. Very good start from him. He's missed all of the carnage pretty much. And Passel's in 6th position, could be going for his best finish of the season. Quite literally, he could be going for his best finish of the season out on track, which will be absolutely phenomenal if he does. But reminder, coming into tonight, the championship permutations into tonight, and I'll just get them up on my Discord in just a second. So coming into tonight, remember, Drivers' Championship, in terms of how it is planning out so far, Mashiva coming into tonight on 163 points. Key is in second on 109, Hada is in third on 88 points, so forgive me, I think I said Pariah earlier on. 54 points is the gap between Mashiva and Key. Currently, theoretically out on track, 25 points would be going Mashiva's way, plus the fastest lap, so 26. He would wrap up the championship because Key is down in 4th position and Hades is down in 5th position. Mashiva would be champion if this race was to stop now, but there's 22 laps to go out on track, and honestly anything can happen, as already proven I think, out on track. And also with the constructors, McLaren will score 6 points or more regardless of what Toro Rosso scores, and McLaren will lift the title then. There and now, pretty much. Mashiva leads though, on to lap 5 we go. Very slow race so far, if I've got to be honest. A bit of a slow burner, this one. Here in Russia, the Sochi Autodrome. You join us, of course, from the host city of the Winter Olympic Games in 2014. As is the yellow flag in Sector 3, and Jeffrey has spun around. Jeffrey has gone around again. Hasn't picked up any visible damage on that car. Not sure if there might have been a little bit of contact possibly going into the braking zone, but Jeffrey down in 11th position. He's behind his teammates as well. Key picks up a 3-second time penalty. That's through turn 4. In fact, that's on the exit of turn 3 going in towards turn 4, where he's picked that up. Now coming through turn 5. 0.3 of a second up on his personal best. Purple first sector as well. And now Key's beginning to get closer to Storm and Pariah, and I've got to be honest, looking at the current timings on the screen, as we're right on board with Conti, trying to go for a move here on YWR Storm. Conti first overtake of the night. YWR Storm has got damage on that left side end plate, and Conti is through. Conti is through, Storm runs wide. Didn't take the escape board either. You are allowed to take the escape board and not pick up a penalty. Storm just about getting away with it. Probably an outbreak on a lock-up given the conditions. Conti is through, and he's up into 9th position. It's now position gain for the Red Bull man out on track. But Mashiva doing a good job out on track, extending the gap to 2.1 seconds. Pariah is in 2nd, Storm in 3rd, Key in 4th. Are we going to see a repeat of last season in TTSL? If you remember, last season in TTSL, myself and Mal commentated through that one, and we had an utterly tremendous battle between Storm and Key, and to be honest, it was the best race of the season then. Key, by the way, has just set the new fastest lap of the race as well. So Key setting the new fastest lap of the race. Didn't appear up on the bottom, but I definitely think he has, unless I'm mistaken there. Yeah, 49.6, there you go, just to confirm. Key 49.6, new fastest lap of the race. It didn't appear on the bottom, definitely appeared though on the mini-map to the right hand side. It's Mashiva who leads, Pariah in 2nd. But yeah, just going on to the point where I was making about Storm and Key, these two had an utterly tremendous battle around here at Sochi last season. Give it, albeit in dry conditions, but honestly, it's probably one of the best battles I think I've seen around Russia ever, in any league. And it was real credit to both of these. And I think Key is looking quicker than Storm once again here tonight. Storm trying to close in on Pariah, but these two essentially are bringing Key into play. Key is coming forward rather than with Pariah and Storm coming backward. So Key out on track, doing a good job. But 0.4 of a second, as I say, out on track tonight. But here he comes. Are we going to see round 1 of the infamous battle from last season? It's literally round 2, but we're in round 9 of the season, and Storm ran the outside line, Key on the inside line, gets the move done. Late on the brakes, is Storm going to try and switch it back around the outside of turn 14? He is, and we continue the battle from last season. Storm and Key, as Charlie has left the session. He DNF'd, of course, out of the race, and Key has somehow defended that line, but Storm trying to go around the outside line through turn 16, but it's Key who gets the position done. Apologies about the shoddy camera angle work there, but Key is through, he's up into P3, and already we are getting maybe a sense of last season all over again, and it's now bringing YWR Hades into play. Storm now on the back of Key. trying to get the move done. Remember, no DRS out on track with it being wet conditions. On lap 7, Storm to the inside line. On Key, is he going to be brave enough to go for the move? He's going to have a half look, but not going to be close enough. Good respect shown once again between the two of them. And Key is remaining on to P3, but Storm trying to go around the outside here. Outside line doesn't really work now. The grip used to be there before they patched the game up for Russia. The grip now is on the inside of the corner, so you want to be trying to take that with a bit of alacrity and a bit of respect. By the way, there is a spinner in the background. I think that might have been Axnes who was being lapped. Yeah, Axnes has been lapped out on track. Keep going though, keep going. You never know what could happen in this race. 20 laps to go, I mean, or 19 and a half if you're being picky, and anything can probably still happen in this race. There could be DNFs galore by the end, but Mashiro leads 2.2 seconds. And what that's done actually with Key and Storm battling, apologies about that, but Key and Storm 6 tenths of a second. What this has done is brought Pariah now ahead of Key by 2 seconds. So Pariah now in a bit of no man's land. He's stuck in between a rock and a hard place essentially in terms of Mashiro and Key. Key, in the meantime, his focus is to try and get onto the back of Pariah, but also trying to defend off Storm. Gotta be honest, Storm, I think he was having metal plates on him today with his right hand, or his right wrist I should say. If you ride on ball with Hades, my controller just dropped there, but Storm, to consider he is running with an injury, and with him being a relatively younger gentleman, let's say. I know he's going to come at me that one later on, but Storm doing a good job out on track. And with him being an older person, and with him being essentially what he likes to call himself an old man, I don't think he is personally, but Storm, what was I saying? Yeah, Storm out on track with that injury is doing a fantastic job, I think. Jeffrey has left the session, has retired, I think, and Access has retired from the race as well, and that is into the pit there. I'm not surprised, he is way down on the back. In the meantime though, Maze has got through on the AI car of Jeffrey, so he gets on moved on up to 12th position. And again, anything can happen in this race. Jeffrey must have had a moment for Maze to get past, and possibly a disconnection there from Jeffrey as well. In the meantime though, it's lap 8 out of 27, and I mean, we're coming towards the third of this race, still intermediate conditions, but I sense that the rain is easing out on track. In the meantime, you're on board with the closest battle on track. It is Storm and Hades, 4th and 5th position for these guys. Just coming in and having a look at some of the comments section. Hades trying to go on a late braking move on Storm, not close enough to the back rim though. Charlie, by the way, I can understand the frustration. Honestly, I question some of the people in this league. How can you crash into somebody in a straight line when you're using max assists? Says Charlie, and that is of course aimed at Daniil. I'm sure if you put in your POV, Charlie, the stewards will investigate any circumstance and any action out on track that will receive a penalty. It probably will, because the stewarding is quite fair within TTL F1 League 2, and indeed in all TTL leagues as well. Tricky Skills, by the way, coming in and supporting YWR, and Mashiro has got support from Flores as well. So Flores supporting Mashiro there, and of course Mashiro is out in front, 3.9 seconds. Pariah's made a little bit of a mistake though. Kino getting a little bit closer out on track, 2nd and 3rd. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the session so far and the stream. Just having a look at Martin and Christine Underwood's comments as well regarding F1 2020. F1 2020 is out on July the 10th. Will allow gamers to enter their own team, choosing team name, engine supplier, livery and second driver from a pool of drivers. Pretty sure none of that applies to TTG. I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's in the new My Team Korea. I'm sure there's a new mode coming in called My Team, where you can actually create your own team and manage it. So essentially, think of it like Motorsport Manager, but in Formula 1. I think it's quite cool, to be honest. You can change your own livery and all sorts. And I know F1 2020 gameplay has been coming out. In the meantime, though, we'll focus in the present F1 2019, and it is Key on the back of Pariah. Yellow flag in sector 1. It's Atlas Copel who is round. I think he might have had a little bit of contact possibly with Conti, or if he spun by himself, not sure. But Storm has gone massively wide then. Hades is trying to really come into play here. Hades on the back of Storm. And it's not going to get the move done there, but look at how much the Racing Point man is struggling. Hades around the outside through turn 16 gets the move done. Fantastic stuff by Hades. Storm gave him the room to complete the move around the outside. Storm got too close to the wall as well. But Hades is through and he's up into P4. That gives his championship hopes a slight boost out on track. Something that could give a slight boost though is Key. He's on the back of Pariah. This is running down towards turn 2. Is he late on the brakes? Going down to the inside line. He's going to have a half commitment. But he doesn't get the move done, and it's still Pariah's position for now. Second and third, but the main two constructors, first and third for McLaren, second and fourth for Toro Rosso, really all to play for. But if my maths is right, currently out on track, no fastest lap going to either team, because Maximus has just set the new fastest lap of the race in 7th. If my maths is right, McLaren will be scoring 40 points out on track. Toro Rosso will be scoring 30 points. So 10 points the difference. That, to me, in theory, makes McLaren Constructors Champions at this moment in time. Anything can still happen, and everything will probably change before the end of the race as well. But that's just in theory now. Lap 10 out of 27. We're right on board with Key, who is on the back of Pariah. And doing a good job out on track. Storm trying to get onto the back of Hades as well. Oh, and Key's trying to launch it down the inside. Looked like it was a bit too late on the brakes there, possibly. But Key just having a bit of a lock-up. Going down the inside line. Still a little bit of contact on the rear end. Pariah holds on to second place for now. Mashiro is dominating though. Going for 6th win in a row coming into tonight. And Mashiro's championship hopes, drivers' championship hopes, really looking on form. I've got to be honest. Oh, Key just loses a little bit of opposite lock coming through turn 17, through 18. VTB sponsored Russian Grand Prix here for TTL F1 League 2. And if you're just tuning in, we're on lap 11 out of 27. It's been like this since the start, and it's wet conditions. But intermediate conditions, you can see by the shine on the cars and the spray being kicked off. It looks relatively dry. If it was to stop raining, however, it would turn bone dry, I'm sure, the track. Key, in the meantime, taking the inner line. You can see the grip on the inside there, but you can also see a little bit of an outside lock-up, essentially. Just swinging the car to the left-hand side there, through turn 3. Or kicking out to the right, I should say, but swinging to the left on your camera angle, of course. Storm has picked up a penalty, and Hades is taking track extension to a new... that's a new meaning of track extensions, I think. Goodness me. Anyways, Maze has just let through some of the leaders. That's why you saw a brief yellow flag. Storm struggling. Maybe the injury beginning to come back at him. Passos, by the way, did pit. He's back out in front of Conti quite comfortably. But in the meantime, Key is on the back of Pariah. You can see the Olympic Village in the background of the shot there. Key on the back of Hades. Oh, and again Key misses his breaking point. Sorry, Key on the back of Pariah, I should say. But you can see how much, guys, these now are struggling. Well, there is just seen F1 2020 new gameplay out. Austria has been released for F1 2020 fans. Sure, that'll be good to watch later on in the race. But for now, you can watch TTL F1 League 2 and you can see how much effect the tyres is taking. Key is into the pits from 3rd position. So Key into the pits from 3rd. Let's see him coming into the pits. Of course, it'll be for another set of intermediate compound of tyres. The weather indicator tricked us, says Mashiro. So I wonder actually if it's going to turn dry towards the end of the race. I might be sure. Charlie and Daniil, by the way, have put in their steward's office things as well. But hopefully we're going to be seeing some good action out on track. And just to give an update as well about my co-commentator, he's just, I saw a comment from, I saw a message in Discord earlier on in the commentators chat. I haven't said anything, but I've been in hospital for the last 2 days, which is so so bad to hear. And he hasn't touched his phone that much. Sorry for not telling anyone. We hope to be back next week. Hopefully you are keeping well, Suarez. Hopefully it's nothing too serious given what is going on in the world right now. And I'm sure you will be back alongside me for the final 2 rounds of the championship from next week, of course, as we take in next week, if I'm not mistaken. And I'll get the calendar right before I say this. We go to Circuit of the Americas. So hopefully you'll be back for round 10 of the championship with just 2 rounds to go. But he's missing out on possible crowning of both drivers and constructors standings here tonight. Keem, in the meantime, in 5th, now trying to undercut, I should say, the guys in front. Mashiro was still going around out on track. He had one eye towards the pit lane, I think, there. See if Pariah responds in behind. No, clearly feeling the tyres can go for a little bit longer. I said about the halfway stage is where you should see the intermediate compound of tyres come into play. And you can see the track getting quicker out on... the time's getting quicker out on track indicates that it's still intermediate conditions and they're beginning to warm up to the track. So they're only really beginning to come into their warmness out on track now before the end of the stint. It's probably going to be, I would say, about lap 15, lap 16, possibly for pit stops to begin for intermediates, but it is so hard. It's normally when you see a race like this where intermediate conditions prevail, you normally see a bit of a split in half of the strategies. 13 laps on 13 laps pretty much out on track. Storm just having a bit of a moment there. And out on track, Storm is in 4th. Losing a little bit of time there, ran wide through turn 3, had a bit of a moment I think through turn 3 in fact, now through turn 5. But Mashiro leads, we're pretty much at the halfway stage now with the leaders. Mashiro leads from Pariah in 2nd, Hada's 3rd, but Storm doing a good job with his injury in 4th. Key is in 5th, but look at how much time the guys are now losing in behind. This could really bring, this change in strategy, 2 lap tyres he's now been on out on track, including this lap for Key. He's setting faster laps as well, or fastest first sector I should say. But Key is doing such a phenomenal job out on track. That gap was 20.6 seconds at the start of this lap. It's now 18.3. You can see how much time he's eating into the advantage, and the more time he eats into the guys ahead of him, the better he might be towards the end of the race, or certainly in the shorter term into the race. Pariah not coming into the pits, Hades is not, but Storm is. The Storm responding, he realises I think that Key is beginning to eat into his advantage, and TTG Storm into the pit lane. Should be for a set of intermediate compound of tyres. And tricky pit lane reminds me of Adelaide back in the 1990s. Where of course they used to run in Adelaide as opposed to Melbourne, Australia. Storm now into pit, fresh set of inters goes on, and I'll be out of the pit lane. Key responds, fastest lap of the race, 48.1. You can see the gap, he's already undercut Storm by quite a big margin, maybe 6 seconds I'm thinking coming out the pits. It's going to be probably in and around that, to be honest. Storm, yeah, it's going to be 6 seconds pretty much coming out of the pits, so one of my predictions has gone right tonight. You can take a shot if you are playing James Head's Bingo here tonight, the drinking game, James Head's drinking game. But if you're not playing that, I'm sorry I haven't released that version of the drinking game just yet, but I'm sure we will in the future. But anyways, Mashiro leads, Pariah 2nd, Hades in 3rd, and now McLaren are on, theoretically, out on track. McLaren, as it stands, first 25 points, Key in 4th on 12 points, plus 1 for the fastest lap, 13. So my math is right, 38 points to Pariah and Hades 33. 5 points, I think it was, coming into tonight, if I'm not mistaken. So it is nip and tuck, theoretically, for the win here, or for the Drivers' Championship, and indeed for the Constructors here tonight as well. Storm trying to close up on Key. He's got a little bit of a back marker ahead. I think that's YWR Storm. He runs wide. Still going around in 12th position. Bates, by the way, has got himself into 11th position out on track after that contact early on in the race, and Storm has a bit of a moment there, a bit of a Tokyo drift through for Storm, just on the fresher tyres as well. You can really see the tyres will not be warming up to the temperature that the guys would hope out on track, and certainly in Storm's case, he's on very fresh tyres, and across the line there in 5th position. Nothing really going on. It's quite boring, to be honest. I'm going to say that now. It is quite boring, to be honest. I'm just trying to fill in with stuff to find out on track. So what I'll do, actually, is I'll take a brief 30-second break from commentary. I'll let the game sound and everything run around in the background. I'm just going to take a 30-second break, and hopefully we'll see some action coming into the pit lane very soon. So Key there, I think, just picking up another 3-second time penalty out on track, and just like magic, I am back. Mashiro still going around, 10 seconds out in front. Gap to Key and Hannah, 16.2 seconds, so that is quite notable. Key, in fact, Key, I think, is going to undercut Pereira and Hannah by quite a margin, if I'm not mistaken. It's what, 18.4 seconds between Pereira and Key. But we saw that gap between himself and Storm just a few laps back. Key's going to undercut Pereira and Hadders here for a possible P2 out on track. But the further these guys go, Pereira and Hadders, the better their tyres will be towards the end of the race. That is the noticeable difference between what Key has done, there he is in 4th position, and what Hadders and Pereira are doing. They're on totally different strategies. Key will be hoping those tyres can last to the end of the race. Certainly in terms of some of the perspective taken behind as well, Passels is on the same strategy as him, as is Maximus on 3-lap all mediums, albeit Passels pitting a lap earlier than Key. Undercut really works around here, and I think Key is beginning to come into contention for 2nd position out on track. It's normally about a 20-odd second pit stop around here. But Mashiro leading the way out on track, and thought it had stopped raining, but it hasn't yet. But the rain is definitely beginning to go out on track, and there, perfect timing. It's still raining out on track. There's still visible spray coming off the tyres, but DRS has been enabled and the rain has stopped out on track. No, you can see the rain is still going out on track. This is a big call. Atlas Copel goes straight onto the soft compound of tyres. I tell you what, I don't think it is, you know. You can see the spray is still being kicked off on the tyres. Mashiro is going to come in. The biggest indicator is if the leader comes into the pits. Honestly, if I was Pereira Hades, I'd be hoping to stay out, to be honest. It doesn't look like, to me, it's dry conditions, and it's still raining out on track. That's the most weird thing I've ever seen, I think. It's still raining out on track, but we've got DRS enabled. And Atlas Copel is losing time to Tom as well. What's the sense in going onto a set of soft compound of tyres? I don't know. I wouldn't have, to be honest. If I was in that situation, YWR Storm is off through turn 13. He is out of the race. So YWR Storm is out of the race. Jeffrey now going to be up to P12. And Mashiro comes out of the pits in front. But now is the question of whether Mashiro, you can see him nearly running wide through turn 2. You can see it's not really dry compound tyres just yet. The rain has actually stopped now out on track. YWR Storm leads the session. We do thank him though for attending, as we do with everyone as well, Axel, Daniil and Charlie. But Mashiro doing a good job out on track, and there is Jeffrey's car, by the way. It's still AI, and Mashiro now on a set of socks. I question the strategy from some of these guys, but it's the right strategy to go on in the end. Atlas Copel, by the way, has got past Tom as well. Where is Atlas Copel out on track? There he is. Conti is just about to come out of the pit lane. Oh, this is going to be easy for Conti. Come out the pits out in front. I mean, Atlas Copel's just going around the final corner now. Tom is coming into the pits as well, as will Mays. He's still going round and be hoping for point Mays. But again, it's just turned a little bit. boring, to be honest. Maximus on the back of Pasels. This will be the difference between the softs and the mediums. Oh, and Pasels going very slow here. This is Maximus's chance, you know, to try and pick up. I don't think he realised he was going to close up that quick. Maximus then on the back of Pasels. Belgian against Brit. Mercedes against Renault. Oh, and Pasels coming across to defend the position. Maximus will not be happy with that. I think Maximus was going to get the move done there if he switched it back. Pasels came across him. That's a bit of a questionable move, I think. You've got to maintain the two positions, and in fact, Pasels has let him go. So Pasels has let him go. Maximus is through up to P6 out on track, but hopefully we'll take a replay of that in. Maximus, just looked like Pasels got a power run out of the corner. Maximus was going to have superior traction out of the corner, get the inside line into turn 6, then through turn 7 and pick up the move. But Pasels just moved across him. Pasels moved across him, he let him through. Whether that will be investigated by the suit and whether Maximus takes any action remains to be seen. I think you might have not heard the last of that one, to be honest. We ride on board though with Mashiro. And actually the tyre, the wet compounded tyres from the inters now to the dries has came in perfectly for Pariah and Hades. Those guys would have been hoping, if those guys, honestly, if it turned dry a couple of laps later, Key would have undercut Hades and Pariah for sure. But now, from a first and second, it has now turned into first and fourth, out on track possibly. And just to speak about the fastest lap of the race as well. Well, that scope was set at 141.6, but this is not indicative of the new tyres out on track. You will see this lap around, these guys and these lap times begin to tumble. Mashiro coming round the final couple of corners, looking good actually out on track. Mashiro is dominating out in front. Better go into lap 19. He's around the final corner, and Mashiro, yeah, takes the fastest lap away. But the main focus point is this fastest lap point. It is going to be the difference between winning the Constructors and losing the Constructors, quite literally. Pariah doesn't improve in the meantime. Hades coming around the final corner. And he goes quicker than Mashiro. Can Key respond to Hades' lap time? Yeah, Key sets the fastest lap of the race. I'll be back in 30 seconds. Sorry about that, I was just having a conversation with my mum, as you do, in commentary. But Mashiro, 12 seconds in front from Pariah in second. Hades got a little bit closer actually in third. He's knocked off 7/10 of a second compared to Pariah. He's in fourth, Storm in fifth, Maximus in sixth, Pasels possibly on for his best point finish of the season. He's in seventh with Conti in eighth, Atlas Copo in ninth. Tom is in the points as well. Tom is in the points, going for his first points of the season. You know, I make miracles come true here on TTL F1, League 2 for sure. Tom could be picking up, more than likely will pick up his first points his first points of the season. And coming round towards the final couple of laps, the tyre graphics are ready, by the way, to crown the champions. And whether or not Constructors will, and whether or not Mashiro will, remains to be seen. But Mashiro in front of Hades and Key, it is guaranteed, I think, out on track, unless he makes one howl of a mistake and is out of the race. Mashiro will win the Drivers' Championship here, and McLaren, it all depends on who gets the fastest lap on the race between out on track, Toro Rosso and McLaren. If one of those drivers, if Key, for example, gets fastest lap of the race, McLaren will win the title. If Toro Rosso get the points, get the fastest lap point, they will just be within range by a point on the Constructors' Championship battle. So that is how close it is. I think that's in theoretically what I've been saying tonight, and indicative of what I've been saying tonight as well. But doing a fantastic job, as I say, out on track. Everyone, but Mashiro leads, Pariah second, Hades in third. It's probably one of one of the most boring races, if I've got to be honest. out on track that I think I've seen all season. This is what you get when Suarez doesn't attend. I'm not blaming it on Suarez at all, but this is what you get when he doesn't attend. You get a bit of a ball race like this. But Mashiro leads, as we are on board with Hades. We'll go on board with the leader now, Mashiro. The champion-elect coming into tonight, soon to be back-to-back champion here in TTL F1 League 2. We'll run through the penalties as well. I don't think there's going to be many battles towards the end of this race. We'll run through the penalties in just a couple of laps' time. Pariah responds, fastest lap of the race, 1:36.3. So now that puts the Toro Rosso, and Hades in fact improves ahead of him. So Key, round the final corner, is he going to improve? Yes, he does. 35.7. He puts it to the sword now. It's like qualifying all over again for the fastest lap point. It is the most fascinating thing, I think, out on track that he could have this season. McLaren just have to score 6 points, not outscore Toro Rosso by 6 points. I've been corrected there by Honey Badger. So McLaren just have to score 6 points to win the championship. I was thinking something else, so I apologise about that. But thank you very much to Tom for all of our graphics and all of the camera work behind the scenes as well. Not many replay cams, I feel, coming into tonight, but you never know. You never know what could happen. But Conti, in the meantime, is catching the back of Pasels. Pasels is the exception rather than the rule out on track. Pasels on the side of medium compounder tyres, getting closed down by Conti here on a set of soft compounder tyres. And you would imagine that Conti will be lapping quicker than Pasels, and I think that's been indicative over the last few laps or so. Conti on the back of Pasels. We could see an overtake. That's why I'm running on board with this battle for. Everything else is like 5 seconds and above. So Conti 3/10 up through the middle sector, through the first sector into the middle sector now. Through turn 6 and 7 he comes. Conti doing a good job out on track. 1.5 seconds. And still that gap begins to close down. Pasels be hoping. This is actually optimum tyres, to be honest, or optimum temperature, to be honest, for the mediums to run at. Key responds, new fastest lap of the race, 1:35.1. McLaren, fastest lap point again. So as I said, they've only got to outscore Toro Rosso by 6 points, and then in fact it's Mashiro outscoring Pariah that is going to win them the championship. That is for sure. Mashiro as well is outscoring Hades and Key, so he's going to win the championship as well. So our champion graphics are getting readied, I think, within the next few laps or so. I run through the penalties on lap 25. Key has picked up a 3-second time penalty, however, and has outscored Storm today. We had a good battle, of course, in the earlier part of the race, where it was intermediate conditions between Key and Storm. Thought it was going to be like another repeat of last season in TTSL, but I think we were disappointed there, to be honest. But Key and Storm doing a good job out on track. Pasels, in the meantime, getting closed down by Conti. Red Bull against Renault. Of course, Red Bull could have the partnership of Max Verstappen and Alex Albon going forward into 2021. Pasels for Renault in the meantime. Renault, of course, in real life will be hoping that they pick up a driver soon for Renault. I've heard rumours that it is going to be Guanyan Zhu, the Chinese driver from Formula 2, that is going to be taking that Renault seat. However, Jack Aitken has also been mentioned, as well as Brendan Hartley has been mentioned as well, but I think he's enjoying it a bit too much in the World Endurance Championship. That'd be quite intriguing, actually, if that happens. And I think Guanyan Zhu is probably going to be the best option. In the meantime, the best option for Conti is to try and stick it around the outside on Pasels, trying to get the move done. He contacts the wall, actually, on the left-hand side there. Going to outdo him through turn 14, is he? No, not close enough. Conti will wait for the straight again. About to go on to lap 23 here. The leaders, by the way, are already pretty much halfway through the lap. Mashiro is halfway through the lap. Pasels and Conti are only coming around the final corner. This is how spread out this field actually is. Conti, though, in the meantime, on Pasels. We should see an overtake here. Conti, very smooth driving from Conti through the final corner there. It's now on the back of Pasels. Opens up the DRS. You can hear the little ting in the back end. And now Conti switches to the inside line. Pasels will have to be aware of Conti down the inside line. Conti outbrakes himself slightly, but gets the move done. That is how you pull off a move down into turn 2. And Conti now blocks Passel's from earlier on. So Conti is through and he's up into 7th position. Passel trying to go all the way around the outside. In fact, I cut out the scope up on mistake. But Conti is through and he's up into P7. So fresher tyres and cleaner and smoother driving out on track is the order of the day for Conti. He's up into 7th. Good move there by Conti. Passel's down to 8th. Atlas Coppo could be next up for Passel's. Passel's will be hoping he can stay for P8 out on track. Just to reiterate as well, with some of the standings coming in tonight, the driver's standings, Passel's coming into tonight, his best result was an 8th place finish in Britain. Otherwise, he picked up 10th place finishes in both Germany and last time out in Singapore as well. So Passel's going to be on for 2nd best result of the season. If he gets past Conti again, he'll be on for his joint best result of the season. That's how much it'll matter to him. Mashiro halfway through the lap. What I'll do then, for the benefit of the winners graphic, is run through the penalties that every driver has picked up. You can see the intermediate strategies, and the one-stop strategy has clearly worked for the guys out on track. But let's run through our penalties out on track. Mashiro has picked up 1 warning. Pariah has picked up 1 warning. Hades has picked up 1, 2, 3 penalties, and he's on his final warning. Key has picked up 1, 2, 3, 4 penalties, and he's on his final warning. Storm has picked up 1, 2, 3 penalties, and is on his final warning, but hasn't picked up a warning for the last 5 laps there. Maximus has picked up 2 penalties. Conti has picked up 1 penalty. Passel's has picked up 3 penalties, including 1 on that lap. Atlas Coppo has picked up a penalty. And Tom, filling out the top 10, has picked up 1 warning. Good stuff from Tom, actually. And Mays has picked up 2 warnings as well out on track. Jeffrey is going around in AI mode, so he is not a human out on track. Halfway through the lap though, through on lap 25. 2.5 laps to go before we see the crowning of a back-to-back champion here in TTL F1 League 2. It is that man again, Mashiro. Not only will he be back-to-back champion, he will be picking up his 6th race win in a row. I don't think I've ever seen such dominance like Blizzard, I think, back in season 12, where he was crowned champion then. I don't think we've honestly seen that much dominance. Possibly trying to match up with Calspur this season and compare them both. I certainly think Mashiro has done a fantastic job out on track. Pariah 2nd, Hades 3rd, Key in 4th coming in. Atlas Coppo, by the way, Alfa Romeo into the pits. I have a feeling he is going to sneak the fastest lap of the race. So the fastest lap of the race point could be going Atlas Coppo's way. Of course, McLaren just need to outscore Toro Rosso by 6 points. But on to the final 2 laps out on track. And Mashiro leads, and the gap has extended to 12.2 seconds, and has done fantastically well out on track. I'm just going to have a look on Discord, see what I've got to do for the graphics for the stream, and turn off the telemetry. Yeah, turn off the telemetry on the bottom right. So that telemetry, I've got it highlighted now on my right-hand side as the sun breaks through here near the Black Sea. Here in Sochi, and we're halfway through lap 27 with the leader and the champion-elect, soon to be champion in a lap and a half's time. Mashiro is going to be on to the final lap of the race very soon indeed, as he comes past the media centre on the right-hand side and past the Olympic Village on the left-hand side as well. And now Mashiro has only got nigh on 5 kilometres left for him to wrap up the championship here tonight. Not only will it be the case, it will also be the case for McLaren to wrap up the constructors, and we'll get that graphic up when we go back on board with Key for 4th position. So just to clarify that for Tom, Mashiro will get the driver's graphic, Key will get the constructor's graphic. So just to run in on that. Just want to be sure that we show them both, because obviously they're split out on time. But Mashiro, on to the final lap of the race. It has been a simply sensational drive from him, and you can see on the bottom right of your screen that the telemetry has now disappeared in preparation from that graphic to come up on the right hand side. And Mashiro 14 seconds in front. Pariah and Hades have tried their utmost to try and get close for the Toro Rosso battle in terms of McLaren. In terms of McLaren coming into tonight, by the way, it is separating 25, 12, 37, 18 and 33 points. So actually, if I'm not mistaken, it's 4 points McLaren will be outscoring on Toro Rosso. So I'm not sure if we're going to get constructors standings. Mashiro will outscore Pariah, yes, but Hades is going to outscore Key, so that gap will reduce. That's what I think I've been mentioning about the fastest lap point all race. Yellow flag in sector 3. Oh, Maximus is out of the race. Maximus is out of the race. He's binned it through the final corner, out on track. So unfortunate. He's got caught on the inside curb, I think. So Conti, Pasels, Atlas Coppo, Tom are going to be going up positions, possibly. But now Mashiro has got final 6 corners to go. The champion is going to be crowned here tonight. The driver's champion, that is. Whether the constructors will, we'll have to do some very quick maths, I think. But Mashiro is now coming around the final couple of corners out on track, and he is going to be your season 17 champion here in TTL F1. Through the final corner, Mashiro spins it across the line. Fantastic win from the Japanese man, and he takes the driver's standings. He takes the driver's championship. Fantastic race. Atlas Coppo is still on the fastest lap point as well, unless the Toro Rossos can respond. Mashiro wins. There is Pariah coming across the line in second. Fantastic stuff from the Japanese man. Hades is in third. Key across the line in fourth. They won't change as they are. And in terms of the constructors, we are frantically going behind the scenes, I think, to try and get the point standings up and going before the end of the race. Storm is going to be coming across the line in 5th in the meantime. Conti will be 6th. Pasels will be 7th. Mays and Jeffrey, Mays certainly will be 11th. Jeffrey AI Mo will be 12th. Mays across the line for 11th there. So just to confirm, if my maths is right, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I'm sure McLaren have got 4 points compared to Toro Rosso, have outscored Toro Rosso by 4 points, if I'm not mistaken. Both championships apparently though have been decided. I'm not sure. I'm honestly not sure. I think McLaren have outscored, Toro Rosso has outscored McLaren by a point. It's difficult. We're going to have to frantically do the maths. But in the meantime, your driver's champion has been crowned. It is Mashiro to the top step of the podium. Fantastic win out on track. And the Japanese man claims not only his 6th win, but the most important prize possession of them all, the Drivers' Championship here in TTL F1 League 2. Fantastic win out on track. The Toro Rossos try to give their all in second, Hades and Pariah, but they couldn't get quite close enough. To the man of the moment, Mashiro, who takes the Drivers' standings. Who takes the Drivers' Championship, I should say. It is Mashiro, though, who takes the win. Pariah in second, Hades in third, Key in fourth. I've been reliably informed, by the way. I'm getting totally ahead of myself. McLaren didn't need to outscore Toro Rosso, so just need to score 6 points themselves. So McLaren have wrapped up the constructors, just to clarify on that. Goodness me, a lot of confusion. Mashiro, though, has won from Pariah in second, Hades in third, with Key in fourth, Storm in fifth, Conti in sixth, Pasels, joint best result of the season in 7th, with Maximus out DNFing in 8th. Whether we get the points is another thing. Atlas Coppo in 9th, Tom in 10th, Mays finished 11th, Jeffrey's AI in 12th, Storm, Axnes, Charlie and Daniil all DNFing out of that race. So congratulations to Mashiro, congratulations to McLaren for wrapping up the constructor standings as well, out on track. I hope the graphic popped up as well, instead of my complete and utter confusion that I might have caused within the comment section. I do apologise by that. But a fantastic win. We have seen the crowning of McLaren as constructors, but the most important thing of all, Mashiro takes the win here in Russia. Next week, we will see you for the Circuit of the Americas for the United States Grand Prix from Austin, Texas. What an amazing, amazing race that will be. Hopefully plenty of overtakings to be had, and hopefully some great action out on track, and hopefully we will get my co-commentator Paco Suarez joining me as well. We wish you well, of course, Paco, from all of us here at TTG. We wish you the speediest recovery, whatever is going on, and we hope to see you back for the next 2 rounds and for the final 2 rounds of the championship, as well as the Challenge Cup event. But from myself, James Head, from Tom in the background doing the cameras and the graphics, thank you so much for watching, and the most important message of all here tonight is to stay at home, to protect the NHS, to protect your health service as well, and to save lives. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, we will see you next week for the Circuit of the Americas. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.